Hi, everyone. This is Sean with the MassSupport Network here with the Massachusetts Public Health Report for Friday, April 9th, 2021. Well, things are still a little higher than they were last week, but are slightly plateaued here. About 2,500 more estimated cases circulating right now. They made some changes to the public health report, so there's going to be a couple of things different in how we show things here. First up, when we're looking at people undergoing quarantining or monitoring with suspected COVID cases, waiting for testing results, or people who've had exposure. We had last week 11,000 people undergoing quarantining. Now it's 113,000. I'm expecting that is a typo there. Probably that's an extra one on the front there because we did not increase people in quarantine by tenfold. But there's still going to be an increase there in some amount. But anyways, moving on, this is one of the effects of the new system they're doing. When we look at isolations, we had about just under 32,000 last week. This week, it's just over 35,000. So that's that's still a jump of about 3,000 more cases there that are active at the moment. When we look at the demographics, the average age of a new hospitalization has come down about 3 years, and the average death has come down 1 year. This is likely a result of those older, more vulnerable populations being vaccinated sooner. In terms of hospitalizations, slight upticks across the board here. Not huge, but noticeable. So every metric there, hospitalizations, ICU, and intubations have all gone up a little bit. Testing turnaround time is functionally the same, 0.02 days longer, which is a factor of just a couple of minutes on average. Now, when we look at the state as a whole, just about every county experienced upticks this last week in terms of the incidence rate. This is the number of new cases per 100,000 people per day over the last 2 weeks. And there's been a significant growth in a lot of places, smaller growth in others. The only places that turned downwards, Barnstable stayed the same, and Hampshire County trended downwards a couple tenths of a percent. So generally speaking, any given county is a bit higher, some cases much higher. Dukes and Nantucket about doubled, but again, there's about 25 people there. So it's these ratios that go by population tend to be thrown off in smaller counties. But looking at our percent positivity, this has trended a little bit downwards from where it was last week, when it reached sort of a new high for the last couple of months. That said, we may have just gotten, as more people have been exposed, as case counts go up, we get more testing out, and that may be trending some of it down as well. So I think it's a little too soon to be either optimistic or pessimistic about this current state of a surge or not. We could be turning it back a little bit right there because of more testing, or it could be actually trending downwards because it's running into more vaccinated populations. Right now, 1 in 4 adults in Massachusetts is fully vaccinated. So that is nowhere near herd immunity, but that is certainly enough to blunt outbreaks in some areas, likely, and certainly to prevent some of the worst outcomes in some populations. Finally, looking at the actual trends over the last few weeks, this is just looking since this year began. So, we had that big spike there, turned downwards, hit our lowest point in early March, and then slowly trended back upwards. And in this scale, we can see all the way back to January. It doesn't look like a huge trend back upwards, but we rose by as much as a third, from about sort of 1,500 cases on average ballpark there to about 2,000 on average in the last week or so. There's a little bit of a downward trend here, but that this is based on testing date. So this is the last couple of days are always going to be a little lower because they don't have full numbers yet on those. Also, there was no data reported on Easter, so that may slightly throw things off. However, it being a Sunday, there's often less reported there, so it probably hasn't thrown off numbers too much. As we go into our weekend, there's one thought as I go back into the well of dinos and comics, my favorite little distractions about mental health. Just a little sentiment I liked. All right, and for more from the MassSupport Network, you can find us on our website or on social media. And remember, wear your mask, wash your hands, we'll be there if you need us. Stay safe.